got a good group here today. All right. I think we're going to have quite a few more people that are going to come in as we get started. But let's get started out of respect for everybody's time that was here on time, and let's start moving. Let's start moving this ship forward. Okay. So one of the big things I want to go over today is I want to go over what's moving the needle in the market. I'll tell you guys that one thing that I know about, no matter what you're doing, is that there's days where you would love to just give the man back his name tag, or give the man back the keys to the office and go out and do something different, because there's stress in everything that we do each day in life, right? Just like my concrete company, one of the big reasons that we do what we do is in lieu of relieving ourselves of a business that has made us millions of dollars every single year. And so when people say, "I just want something different, Jerome. I want options," you're able to walk at a different beat. And I'll tell you, one of the things that really relieves my stress when I think about everything we have going on, it's very similar for a lot of you guys that are on here. Because I remember when I got started building back in 1998, and everything that I did seemed extremely stressful, and I seemed like I had the weight of the rest of my life on my shoulders. And the one thing that I did not have back when I started this was I had no diversification. No diversification in my professional career, no diversification in my financial stability. I didn't have any type of diversification whatsoever. And so it made it tough to on days that were really hard. It made it tough to pallet those days, and you just had to be mentally strong. That's what it came down to. And for most people, they're not mentally strong, and I know that. There's a small margin of people that are really, honestly, mentally strong. And for those of you guys, you're going to have mental fortitude that'll push you through life, and you'll do great things in spite of the minor oppositions that'll come your way. When I say minor, it's because unless you're dealing with something catastrophic, like if you're dealing with a health ailment that you can't heal yourself from, like cancer or something big, everything else is fixable. You know what I mean? There's not much that we can't fix in life. Those are some of the only things. If you have a disability, and so thank God every day, right, that we have the ability to go and perform, even if it's something that we don't like. What today will do for you is it'll give you guys a tool that will give you some relief, because that's what it's done for us over the course of time. Anytime I have hard days or hard times that we're going through with business, I sit back and go, man, thank God I have two homes that are going to go up for sale, right? Like no matter what, like if I need to breathe, and I just want to take a 1 week sabbatical from the bullshit in our office, like the estimates and dealing with painful customers or whatever it might be, right? A car accident that one of our guys got in, and dealing with insurance companies, whatever we're dealing with, we skip at a different beat because we have diversification. That's both in the multifamily sector and in the single family sector. And so what I want to do for you guys today is give you guys an alternative means for financial, as a financial vehicle that we still utilize today. We've been utilizing for over 25, 26, 27, 20, almost 28 years. Okay. And I want to do that for you guys. And it's what I'm teaching my kids right now. It's been a little bit of work teaching my kids this set of plans right here. My son actually put this set of plans together for us about 4 days ago. I let this thing sit in the living room for over 2 weeks, guys. And finally, my wife said, "You guys need to get rid of this. I'm sick of this. I can't even clean the house." And so I said, "Jacob, let's get it going tonight." And I made him stay up one night till 12:30 at night, getting this permit set of drawings ready to go in for permits. He's not building this house. This is one that we're building under the company. But I wanted him to become aware of like what's involved in it, right? We're getting ready to start his house next summer. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is the basis of financial. This is the basis to finances right here. Okay, it has all our permit information. It has our address to where the property is going to be, and it has everything. Right, this is our full set of blueprints right here. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome. See a lot of people still checking in. Okay, so one of the big things, guys, is I want you guys to be able to relate to this. I'm going to go through this really quick today. And when I say really quick, I'm going to go through the information because a lot of you guys have heard this information multiple times that have been on multiple webinars, and there's a lot of new people on here. I know that about 1/3 of you today are, this is not pre-recorded. This is me. So iPhone 5, pow, I'm live. It's me. Poke and breathe myself, right? It is me. It's not recorded. This is real. Okay. So just FYI, and I'll even I'll comment back on some of your guys' comments. Cool. So one of the big things, guys, I want you guys to be able to relate that you guys can do this more so than anything. My forte is business. Truth be told, I'm a dyslexic kid. Never did good at school, in elementary school and middle school, but in high school, I actually did okay. I went from private Catholic traditional high school into a public high school because of wrestling. Thank God, thank God. And I went to a public high school. I'd have probably failed or got kicked out of a private high school. And wrestling kind of saved my life. And what I mean by that is it gave me something to work towards because school was not my thing. And I know for a lot of you guys, a lot of you guys feel the same way. But I'll tell you guys that I'm glad I went through school, and I even went all the way through college. And I remember going through college struggling, and I was one of very few people that probably made it through with the learning disabilities that I had, being dyslexic. But I did it, right? And so when I started getting into the real estate sector, it was a means of survival because I started in business in 1993, and by 1997 we got shut down by the FTC. I was an independent contractor for a multi-level marketing company, and the FTC shut that company down. I was left with no revenue. And so I got into concrete, guys. And I want to take you guys kind of back a little bit so you guys can relate to this because I'll tell you that one of the big things that happened when I was in 98 was something that I didn't realize I was going to be a part of for this long. I told my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, that I was only back in Albuquerque for 12 months because I was going to finish my degree where I was wrestling at the University of Mexico. And I was going to get back to Texas, and I even kept my house in Texas where Rick lived, my buddy Darren lived, my buddy Damien lived, all my friends lived, and we were doing business together. My buddy Ross, and all of us were doing business together. We were all struggling together to get a business going. And we had a little sales company. And my brother-in-law came to me. I used to sand houses for him when I was in college prior to being involved in multi-level marketing. And so, look, guys, when we did this, you can fall asleep if you want, man. It's up to you. I'm about to give you guys some gold. There's a lot of people on here that need to hear this stuff, guys. And I want to relate to as many people as I can because when you guys understand like where I came from, you guys can understand you guys can do this, right? And so if you're bored, this is free. You don't have to be here. It's an investment in your time. I'm going to give you guys some gold here today. But there's a series of relatability that I want to make sure people understand. Because in 1997, when things got shut down, I went back to New Mexico. My brother-in-law was trying to get his contractor's license. I used to be a laborer for him back in the early 90s. And I went in and got my contractor's license, and I passed the exam. He didn't even show up. And I landed up selling jobs because that's what I knew how to do. Okay. And through the means of selling projects in less than 12 months, I wanted to get into construction ground up because I saw builders around me where I was pouring foundations and where I was pouring driveways in our concrete business. And we were doing well. We were making about 15 to 20,000 a month. We built a business because I knew how to sell. And what ended up happening was I met a dude on a motorcycle that was coming by the house every day about a year later. And he told me he was going to make $80,000 building a house. And I was like, holy shit, man. And I told him, how much time does it take out of your day to build each house? And he goes, I probably spend about 5 to 10 hours a week on each house that I have going up. And I said, how many do you have going up? He said, 3. He goes, I don't work more than 30 hours a week. And he goes, I try to work as little as possible. And he was making $80,000 and he was doing these houses in 4 months. And so I put these 120-day builds together, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to share that business model with you guys. It takes longer than 120 days in today's day and age because labor is just not the same as it used to be. So what we used to build in 120 days, we're typically doing in either 150 to 180 days. So it takes us between 5 and 6 months to build a similar house that we used to build in 120. Plus, I don't want the stress anymore. We used to do it. I was in my young 20s. I'm 50 years old. I don't have any desire to kill myself doing it. And I know that some of you guys are working full-time jobs. So look at this as a part-time opportunity for you guys. Now, one of the big things, ladies and gentlemen, is you got to get your mindset right. The biggest dilemma that I have moving forward today is that you guys spent 13,000 hours in a bullshit education system learning how to be great employees. It's not what America was built on. America was built on capitalism. It was built on free enterprise. Our forefathers went and fought for our freedom because we were built as a capitalistic country. Okay, not a country where you go out, get a great education, get a job, and then you get a Timex when you don't need to watch anymore, and you don't need to keep time anymore because you're friggin' retired. Okay. We weren't raised in a country where you go out, work 30 years, and you get a pension or what I call a pay cut at the end of spending 30 years in working a job. We were born in America. America is the land of opportunity, the land of the free, and like you say, the home of the brave. Why? Because brave people have to take risks. And everything that I'm talking about today is relatable to entrepreneurship. Okay. How many of you guys on here are self employed? Just say yes if you're self employed. Quite a few of you guys. Okay. Now, if you're not self employed, wow, a lot of you guys are self employed. Damn, that's awesome. I love it. Okay. If you're not self employed, you're working a full time job, just say, just say no. Just put the word no in there, just so I get a feel for how many self employed and how many people that are employed. Okay. No, no, quite a few people as well. Okay. Retired? No. Okay. No, no. Okay. So, and there's no shame in either one of them. But even self-employed people, they think that they have it all figured out. A lot of self-employed people are solopreneurs, and they work their self-employment as if they were an employee. And so, one of the big things, guys, I'm going to go through systems and processes today that we utilize as self-employed entrepreneurs that make larger revenue. Okay, it's not the Rockefeller school system that was put together to teach you guys how to be great employees. I'm going to talk to you guys about entrepreneurship, about business, about being self-employed. Now, there's nothing wrong with being employed. Keep your 9 to 5 job, keep your 8 to 5 job, keep your business. Do not quit anything that you're doing. I can teach you guys how to build a house. This looks very similar to this, and sell this for $150 to $200,000 profit, net profit in any area across the entire continental United States, provided that you follow our business model. Okay. Now, if you follow our business model and you follow our business model to a T, it's not hard to be able to do this. It's the same business model that we execute today, and I want to share that with you guys. You guys ready to learn? You guys want to learn how to do this? Okay, let's do this. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Give me some cities that you guys are from across the United States. What cities are you guys from? See, Alex, me, Boston, Memphis. Let's do Memphis. Let's do Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis I have some curiosity about Memphis just because of the growth that they're going through. They're actually getting beat up right now a little bit because they were experiencing so much growth. They still don't have the economics to stabilize Memphis, Tennessee. But let's look at Memphis, Tennessee real quick. Let me share my screen with you guys. Okay. You guys see my screen? Let's go ahead and let me jump into Google here. Let me close out some of this stuff. Close out some of these boxes. All right, let's go to Google. Okay, so if you guys go to Google in your city that you guys are in right now, I want you guys to take note of what I'm doing, guys. Okay, and just watch. So we're gonna say, let's say $1 million homes for sale. Let's do $1 million homes for sale. And I'm gonna explain why. So we're gonna do $1 million homes. $1 million homes for sale in Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee. Oh no, I wasn't supposed to do that. Okay, I clicked on that. So we go back over here. Okay, $1 million homes for sale. Okay, $1 million homes for sale. And watch, check this out, guys. Okay, let's search. Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, Memphis, Tennessee luxury homes. Let's look at what Zillow has to say. Okay, now watch what I'm doing here, guys. This is too expensive. Okay, now here's the business model. You guys want to stay under a million, about under $1 million, but in excess of 500,000. The sweet spot, I'll tell you guys, is between 700,000 and $900,000. And the reason why is because it's affordable to the upper middle class. You want to focus on the upper middle class, but where does the upper middle class want to live? They want to live in predominantly wealthy neighborhoods, do they not? Okay, so if they want to live in predominantly wealthier neighborhoods, but they don't want to, they can't afford to buy a $1.5 million home, let's go in and let's take a look at some of these homes that are for sale. Okay, so that's a newer home in that area there. This is all downtown. Okay, now the homes, you want them between 1,700 square feet and uh, and 3,000 square feet. Don't build homes over 3,000 square feet. These ones don't even have the square footage of the homes in them. Okay. 1.2, 1.19. Okay, that's the new house. I like that one. 4 bed, 4 bath. Look at this area. It's a nice estate. Okay. Wooded area. They can't. They don't have the square footage price in the square footage in here. This is nice. You guys like that house? Simple home. Fixtures are simple. Same type of trim out that's in the back behind what I'm doing right here. Is it not? Doesn't it look very similar as far as trim out? Okay, now that's pretty ranch style. Well, check out even the kitchen. I think the kitchen that I'm in is actually a nicer kitchen than this one, but still a nice home. Love the vaulted ceilings, a lot of light. Okay, this is a good area right here. Write that address down if you're from Memphis, 633 East Rocky Point Road, Cordova, Tennessee. Okay, there's some lots for sale right here that look good. Okay, 5 bed, 4 bath, 4 bed, 4 bath, 1,050,000. Oh, look at this lot for sale. Okay, these things have estates. Now, that's an expensive lot. Don't buy a lot that expensive, but it's probably a really nice area. Okay. All right. Let's go to a different website because I don't like that. Zillow's not. Okay. Let's go in here. Let's look at Redfin real quick. Okay. Now follow me here, guys, because I'm showing you guys where to find your demographical areas on. Okay. Look at these 900K. Let's look at this 900K home. That's 5. There's a lot of money up here. 21.6 acres. Okay. Now, I'm going to add a filter in here. And the filter that I'm going to add, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take this out because I want. I'm going to go in minimum, and let's call it 1,700 square feet. Okay, so 1,700 square feet on the square footage minute. Enter maximum. Let's do 3,500 square feet just for game's sake. 3,500. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do. I want to do new homes. So property details. Year built. Let's do 2022 to today. 2024. Those are the only ones I really care about. Okay. Okay. Now this area, Memphis. Let's expand our area, guys. Coralville. It's actually remove. I'm going to remove this filter right here. Take this out. Okay. All right, that goes back up. Now, the only filter we have on is new homes. Okay, so we have this filter on, and you guys can leave this filter the way it is. 2022, 2024. Look how many homes opened up. Okay, now, these are selling on lot prices. And these websites are not giving us the square footage. Okay, here's a house right here. Okay, so if we go minimum amount, let's do 500,000. Let's do 500K. Okay. All right. 4 bed, 4 bath. Look at this area right here, guys. It's 819, 4 bed, 3.5 bath. That house is probably no more than about 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. The lot size is 7,400 square feet, but the house itself is probably a lot smaller. Okay. Now we have 2.4 million. This is even good. The lot, it's a 4 bed, 4 bath. That's probably about a 2,600 square foot house for 739. This is all new construction right here, and it's a 4 bed, 3.5 bathroom house. That's a smaller home. I bet that house is like 2,400 square feet, $700,000. This looks like a smaller home as well, but it's a 4 bed, 4.5 bath. That house is probably 2,500 square foot. And just look at these addresses, guys. This is the area you want to go look at. 5373 East Wheaton Park in Memphis, Tennessee. And there's a vacant lot right next door to this one on the left-hand side. Okay. Now this one, same thing. All these houses, this is small. This little house right here is probably, I bet you this house like 2,100 square feet, 741. Okay. Now, based on this, guys, let's go back, and it gives us the lot size, but it's not giving us the actual square footage of the house on here right now. Okay. So let's go in and let's underwrite this. You guys want to see how the money's made? Looking at the what we're doing. Okay. Now, look, guys, you guys can build in any of these areas. This area right here at 5377 Shady Breeze in Memphis, this could be a really good area. Okay. This one right here at 6625 Highgan Woods CV, you guys can, that area could be a good area. These little duplexes might be good little investments, right? $824,000. And the entire lot size is tiny, is only 3,400 square feet. So that house is probably 2,000 square feet, give or take. So that's $824,000. Okay. That house right there is located at 1402 Club Gardens Place. Okay. Now this one for 741, that house is probably 2,300 square feet or smaller. And that's a 5017 Henry Heights Drive, Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. Now, $739,000, 4 bed, 4.5 bath. That house is probably a little bit bigger. I bet that house is about 2,500 square feet, give or take. Okay. Now, this house is probably sitting on less than half an acre. That house looks like it might be 3,000 square feet, but it's a $1.5 million house. Okay. Perfect. So I would compile all of these comps to go to the bank with. Now, let's talk about money, guys. Let's talk about money. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to share my screen again. But what I'm going to do is, are you guys ready to look at the money side of it? Utilizing what we just looked at to make some money? Okay, let's do it. Now, let's go and share my screen, and I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about the underwriting on how to do this. Okay. Now, when you go into these areas, guys, you go in and you get comps because you can't get lending. you can't get lending for a set of prints like this until you have comps. So one of the big things that I want to make sure you guys know is that we get our comps to be able to know what we build based on the area that we're building in. That's why I show you that. So some of you guys are sitting back going, okay, why is he showing me this stuff? Because that is the single most important thing that you guys need to know when you guys are going in looking for land. You don't look for land, you look for an area that supports a business model. And our business model is this right here. You want it doesn't matter the size of the lot. The lot can be super small or it can be extremely big. The biggest thing is you want to keep your land cost between probably 60K and 200K. Now, obviously, if you're closer to 200K, you're building closer to about a $1 to $1.1 million home. Okay, so let's say this is for the land. Okay, lot size does not matter. Lot size does not matter. As long as you can put the house that you want on there, and I shouldn't say it that way. Lot size does matter. You need to be able to put the house size on there that you're in need of for resale purposes. Now, Zillow wasn't showing us the square footage of the house, nor was Redfin. But looking at the houses, knowing those homes, they're probably sitting someplace between 2,100 square feet and 2,300 square feet. Okay. Now, our business model, I tell people, don't really build homes under 1,700 square feet unless the area supports it. Okay. This is the abbreviation for square foot right there. That's square with a little line through it. And you don't want to really get over 3,000 square feet. So those homes sit right in that cusp. Now, these homes were selling for about $750,000. And one thing that I know about these homes is that land will sell for somewhere between 80 to 130 for the land. Okay, this is the land price. So let's say that let's call it $120,000. So for our underwriting, let's call the land $120,000. And let's look at the square footage, and let's call the square footage 2,250 square feet. Okay, so we call 2,250 square foot. Okay, so let's call this house, and this is the heated or the under air square footage. Okay, not the total square footage. This is the heated or under air. This is what is used when selling a home. This is what realtors use, and that square footage is going to be about 2,250 square feet. Okay, now with that said, we go in, and the cost to build nationwide, according to the National Association of Home Builders, is $141 a square foot. Now, one thing that I know is that there's a lot of people on here that, yes, you do have experience. And if you do have experience, you can self-perform building these houses. Now, if you don't have experience, you're probably going to have to hire a general contractor. I'll teach you how to do that. I do the rule of 30, okay? Now, my rule of 30, I'm not going to go over today. Just know that I have what's called the rule of 30, and it's how I onboard general contractors, and it's called the rule of 30, okay? And for a different training, for a different day, I'll teach you guys the rule of 30, because the rule of 30 is how you onboard a general contractor. There's multiple general contractors. They all charge differently. They're all in different shapes and sizes. Their businesses are different. So you want to make sure that you onboard a general contractor that makes sense. Now, with that said, let's say that the general contractor is charging you $50,000 to $60,000 to build that house. You're going to be at about $165 a square foot to build this house. So times $165 per square foot to build that house. Now, if you guys look at this house right behind me here, we built this house for about $155 a square foot. Okay, trim out is nice, flooring's nice, lighting's nice, cabinets are real popular right now with these white shaker cabinets. Everything on this house, the trim out is really attractive. Okay, now We're not quite done with it. Now, with that said, let's take 2250 and we multiply that times $165 a square foot, 2250 times 165. Our cost to build is equal to $371,000. Okay, now that includes soft costs. That includes all your hard costs. And it does not include your land. Okay, now I want to talk about how you get this money because in a second here. So just remember, guys, you're going to need this amount of money for lending. Okay, this is what you're going to need to borrow. Okay, so you're going to need to borrow this amount of money right here. Now that's going to be $491,000. Now the resale price, $750. Okay, now you have two other additional costs that you need to take into consideration. One is your resale cost. You're going to have $750,000. You're going to have 3% to the seller's broker. You're going to have 3% to the buyer's broker. And you're going to have 1% for closing escrow for a title company. Okay, total of 7%. So we take 7% of this number right here. We're going to take 750. Now this is a pass-through cost, ladies and gentlemen. It's what you call a pass-through cost because this does not need to be paid until you actually sell the house. So $750,000, 750 times 0.07, you're going to be $52,000 in resale cost. Okay, so 52K in resale cost. Okay, now you're going to have debt service. And I'm going to show you how to get money here in just a second, guys. I'm going to talk about this again right here in just a second, because I know there's some people that are sitting back going, Jerome, I can afford a $750,000 house, but I can barely get into my own house. And if they look at it like conforming lending, I can't buy another one. This is not conforming lending. And unfortunately, most people aren't taught how banks work in school. And for that reason, I'm going to teach you guys about investment lending today. Okay, you guys okay if I teach you guys about investment lending? How many of you guys are okay? Just say yes if you guys are okay. Asking about learning about conforming lending. Okay. Why don't you go over 3,000 square feet? I got a deal. Oh, because that's on the high end. I just kind of go down the middle, guys. Understand that we can't hit all areas. I can go over 20 different underwriting, but same percentages pertain for a 3,000 square foot house. How did you get to 52K? So Alicia, I got to 52K because I took this 7% right here. I added these up right here. 3% to the seller's broker, 3% to the buyer's broker, 1% for closing, 7% of $750,000. This is our resale price. Right here is the 750K. I multiply 7% times 750, that's $52,000. Okay, so 750 times 52,000. Okay, now our debt service, guys. Let's say that you go in and you get a traditional loan. Some of you guys will get lending through hard money lenders. Some of you guys will raise private capital. Some of you guys may have lines of credit or home equity lines of credit on your house, your current house. And some of you guys might have businesses that you own. There was a lot of self-employed people here, and you guys might be able to go get an SBA loan, or you guys might be able to go get a line of credit against your business. And if you guys don't know how to build business credit, you guys need to go to YouTube and watch my How You Build Business Credit video on how I teach you guys how to build business credit. Okay, because it's real simple to do. It takes about 6 months, but it's worth its weight in gold. And you could be doing it simultaneously through the process that I'm going to talk about here in a second. Okay, so we're going to go through the process. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go through three things in the process of how you get money here in one minute. Now, our debt service is going to be on this $491,000 that you're going to be borrowing. So you take $491,000 times, let's call it 9% at 9% interest. Okay, let's call it 9% APR. Okay, so times 0.09. Okay, that's $44,190 a year. This build is a 6-month build. Okay, this is a 6-month build. Okay, so that's a 6-month build. And you're also going to only pay debt on what you draw. So this is a stair-stepping loan, which means you only pay interest on what you've drawn from the bank. The bank's not going to put $491,000 in your bank account all at one time. They're going to give you what's called progress payments. So as you pour your foundation, they're going to give you a draw. When you buy your land, they're going to give you a draw for the land. Okay. And then what they're going to do is you're going to pay interest just on the $120,000, then maybe $30,000, and you're getting your loan on what's called post 30-day completion. So your first month, you might pour your foundation, do your dirt work, but now your subs have to invoice you. You do a draw from the bank. After the work's finished, you go in and you pay them post 30. So the work's already done. You draw from the bank. The bank gives you a loan, and your contractors will pay you on what's called a net 30. So they'll give you 30 days to pay them, the contractors. You're going to go in on that net 30. You're going to exercise all 30 days, and you're going to be paying the bank what's called a post 30 because of this net 30 that the subcontractors are getting paid on. And so on your post 30, you're 30 days behind. So it's really going to be closer to about 5 months. Okay. So when you ante up that it's a 5 months worth of debt service, it's an escalating loan, and it's also only on what you're borrowing, the amount you're borrowing on, it's going to be about 30% of the entire debt service is the rule of thumb. So if you take that 44,000 times 0.30, that's about $13,000 in debt service. Okay. And that's about right. That's about what you're going to pay in debt to be able to service the debt of this construction loan. Now, the banks, they'll do what's called interest reserve. This won't be owed until you actually close on the construction loan. So you don't have monthly payments. So for some of you guys that are sitting back going, how do you pay for the construction loan and this debt? You pay for this on the back end. Okay. This is what's called accruing. You have accruing interest on the back end that you pay out for this. Okay. Now, yes, you could do this with a fourplex because a fourplex is a residential loan. So absolutely, you could do this with a fourplex. Anything over a fourplex is going to be a commercial loan. Now, when we go in, guys, I'm going to show you guys how to get lending on this for those of you guys that don't have money for the land. I would take the land down in a long-term close, or I would go in and I would do on the land a real estate, an owner finance. Okay. Okay, on the land. Now, you tie up the land and you go through the process. The process is going to be a survey, architecture, and then you're going to need your engineering. Okay, this process right here will get you money. This process right here will also get you permits. So if you guys come in and you guys get this set of prints, if you guys look at my video here, if you guys get this set of prints right here, this set of prints is the process. In here is my survey, my architecture, my engineering, and everything is right here. Now, for most of you guys have about $5,000 to $6,000 to put this together. Now, it's going to cost you someplace right about there to go through the process. Now, you could do the process with very little money out of pocket. You can use what's called an app called Landglide, and you want to execute on this process immediately, guys. You don't want to take a lot of time going through the process. You want to, the day you tie up a piece of land in an area, the day that you tie up a piece of land in the area that services our business model, you want to get on an app called Landglide. You want to get with the seller of that land and ask them if they have a survey. If they have a survey, you're going to get the survey to the architect immediately. The architect is going to go to work. What are they going to design? They're going to design a home that's selling in that area. You don't reinvent the wheel. You're going to go in and you're going to find out what the last 3 homes that sold in that area, what they did, and you're going to build the same home. So if the last 3 homes were between 2,000 square feet and 2,700 square feet, we're going to build a house that's right in the middle of those. We called our house 2,250 square feet. That's this size right here. We know that this is selling. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're building exactly what's selling in that neighborhood. Okay. If it's a 3-car garage, you're going to build a 3-car garage. If it's a 4-bedroom home, you're going to build a 4-bedroom home. If those houses that are selling are 3 baths, you're going to build a 3-bath home. Okay. If here in Memphis, that house in Memphis looked like ranch style. Mid-century modern is in. If mid-century modern is what's selling, you're going to build mid-century modern. Yes, Anton, Landglide. Landglide is the app. I love that app. It'll save you time and money. I love Landglide. Okay. Now you don't Billionaire Freddy. You got that app, bro? I love that name. Billionaire Freddy. On my way, baby. Sweet. All right. So we're going to build. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to build exactly what's needed in that area. Okay. How do we know it's needed? Because we're building what's being sold. Okay. We're not reinventing the wheel. Now, when you come in and you build and you have this one house, what you do is you come in and you go to the bank. Okay. Once you have the process going and you have the survey, the architecture, and the engineering, you could go in and you can start working with a lender. Now, once you go in, you start talking to the lender. The lender's going to you can go in and there's what's called wholesale and retail. Okay, wholesale, cost to build. Okay, this is the money part, guys. Pay close attention. Close attention. Do not friggin' fall asleep right now. Okay, your wholesale cost is $491. Okay, this is what you call your execution cost. This is what you're going to execute to build a house at. Now, there's what you call a retail cost. Okay, there's what you call a retail cost. Now, the house is $750,000. Okay, this is how you figure out what you want to give the bank. The bank on commercial lending will lend up to 80% loan to value on the stabilized asset. Okay, at the end of construction. Now that's at the end of construction. So if we take $750,000 and we multiply that times 80% times 0.80, that's $600,000 that the bank would be willing to give you as an investor a stabilized loan on that house. Okay, we only need $491,000. Now, if we need $491,000, your lender on your construction loan will give you 80% loan to cost, LTC, loan to cost. Okay. Now, that's your cost to build. Now, if you give them your wholesale numbers, you will not have enough money to build your house and give your land. Okay. And buy your land. If you want your loan lender to pay for your land, you need to pay attention really close right here. Okay. Because the lender is looking at this number right here as the stabilized asset. Okay. They're looking at this number right here at the stabilized asset. At this $600K, they have $150,000 worth of equity in the house to be able to go in and stabilize that loan. So now my retail cost, I can underwrite this for as high as about $650,000 on my retail cost to build. So I can come in and I can say my cost to build is $650K. Okay. Now, when you do that, they're willing to give you 80% of that cost to build. So your retail cost, because how many of you guys are going to work for free? Is there anybody on here? Just say if you're not going to work for free, just put no in the chat right now. Just put no, I am not going to work for free. How many of you guys are willing to work for free? If you're like me, put no in the chat. Okay. So at some point in time, we need to make a profit. Yeah. Now this is our wholesale cost. We know this is our raw cost, but it'd be stupid to give the bank that cost knowing that we might have contingencies, right? We have some profit, payables, contingencies. Okay, we have these things. These things contribute to our retail underwriting. This is our safety net. Now, our retail underwriting, we're going to say our cost is $650,000. Now, how many of you guys would love a spreadsheet that gave you the ability to underwrite an entire bill, start to finish? Say yes if you guys want a spreadsheet that allows you guys to go in and vet the cost to build everything from the dirt work, the architecture, the engineering, the foundation, the rebar that goes in that footing, the framing, the trusses, the labor to build, to frame the house, the lumber package, the windows, the doors, all of the flooring, all of that stuff. How many of you guys would love that? Okay. Now, it's easy. It's an Excel spreadsheet. My dad and I put together back in 1998. We have enhanced that spreadsheet over the last 25 plus years, and that spreadsheet is available to everybody that is part of our community. At the end of today, I'm going to give you guys an invite to 5 of the sharpest people on here. And I say sharpest, I should say it differently. I'm going to give an invite to 5 of the 5 people on here that are the action takers and are ready to move forward and start building homes immediately. And the rest of you guys, I'm going to invite you guys to come and learn how to do this for an entire day in Scottsdale in October. How many of you guys would love to come spend an entire day with me in Scottsdale, learn how to do this in the morning, and then learn how to scale it into multifamily in the afternoon? How many of you guys would love to come to Scottsdale with me to learn how to do that? Okay. Now, I'm going to invite you guys to do that. Every single one of you guys are going to get invited to do that in October at the end of this. Okay. And everybody who shows up to Scottsdale is going to get that spreadsheet to learn how to underwrite the wholesale cost right here and the retail cost that I'm talking about. Okay. And you'll be able to take this spreadsheet to your lender. I'm going to give you an electronic version and a hard copy. I'm going to give you both in Scottsdale. Those of you guys who get started working with us today and we start the process working today, we'll also have the ability to have the spreadsheet today. You guys will get access to my spreadsheet this afternoon. Okay. Now, when you guys come in and work with me, no one gets educated for free. There's an investment for everything in life. So understand that Scottsdale is an investment. Working with me is an investment. I've made that investment. Rick's made that investment. Everybody on here has made it. Steven has made that investment. Steve's been coming to my trainings and been a part of our team for over 5 years, guys. And so I'm going to give you guys that opportunity this afternoon. Now, with that said, here's how we look at money from a bank and a lending perspective. Okay. The bank is willing to give you up to 650. Oops. The bank is willing to give you guys up to 650K. Okay. Now, the bank is willing, our retail cost, they'd be willing to give you up to 650K. Now, when they come in, they're willing to give you up to, okay, let me reframe this. They're willing to give you up to $600,000. They're willing to give you 80% of $650,000 of your retail underwriting. So if you take $650,000 and you multiply this number by 80%, that's $520,000 that the bank is willing to give you. Okay. Now, this is your loan to cost. You need $591,000. They're willing to give you $520,000. That's $30,000 in excess of what you need to build. Okay. You don't take that $30,000, ladies and gentlemen. What you do is you take the first draw from this $520,000 loan from your retail underwriting, and now you pay for the land. Okay. You go in and you pay the $5,000 to $10,000 to get through the process. Okay. We have an affiliate called Pathway Financial. For those of you guys that work with us, you guys will all have access to our affiliates for lending. They're a bridge lender. For a lot of you guys that want to utilize a bridge lender to fund the process of entitlements, we have access to capital for you guys that'll help you guys. Okay. You guys can apply through Rick, through Josh, through Angel, or through Steven. Their names are up above here as admins. They're all part of my team. And so you guys have the ability to go in and get bridge lending to help you do that. You guys also have an opportunity to use bridge lending to come in and work with us and be a part of our inner circle. Okay. Now, with that said, this is how commercial lending works, guys. You take the retail budget underwriting, and the bank's willing to give you $520K based on this. Now, the bank knows they have over $230,000 in equity in that house. So if you finish that house for $520,000, actually for $491, because this is all you're going to draw on, the bank actually has over $250,000 in equity in that bill. Do they not? So if you default on that house, how is the bank doing? Knowing that they're going to lend you up to this amount. This was your execution amount, but the bank has over $200,000+ in equity in that house. How is the bank doing? How are they sitting financially? Are they sitting good or are they sitting bad? I'm here for you guys. If you guys don't, we have hundreds of people on here, and Ed's going to be the only person that responds. Okay. The bank's sitting really well. And so the bank's willing to give you this amount of money to build your house. That can afford you your general contractor's fees. That can afford you your cost to build. That's going to put you in a position to get this house finished up. Okay. That's how you go in with very little money, if any, out of your pocket to be able to execute and build. Okay. Now, if we take all these numbers, we take our 120K from our land, we take our 120 from our land, we take our 371, that's $491,000. We take our 57 and our 13K. We take our 491. Okay. We're all into this build for 13,000 for 491. We're going to add our closing costs of 52,000 plus $13,000 in debt service. That's $556,000. That's your total cost. Okay. Now we subtract that number from $750,000. Okay. So we take 750K. We subtract 556. That's $194,000. I'm ahead of myself, guys. $194,000. Six months. How are you doing? How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Okay. Now look, guys. Hang tight 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you guys something. How many of you guys want to learn? How many of you guys, really quick, how many of you guys want to learn how to do that over the next 13 months? The build will take you 6 months, but how many of you guys want to learn how to do that over 13 months? Okay, watch. I'm going to show you guys how to do that over 13 months. Give me 1 second, guys. How many of you guys want to get started today? Just say yes. If you guys want to get started today, say yes. Okay. How many of you guys are willing to do a one-time investment in yourself? If you knew that in 13 months you guys can net this, or even 150K in 13 months part-time, let me show you what it looks like time-wise. Okay. When you guys get a build going, you're going to have your tractor guys going. How many of you guys have to be at the office every day between 8 and 9 o'clock? If you guys have to be at your office every day between 8 and 9 o'clock, just say yes. Okay. Now, for those of you guys that have to be at your office between 8 and 9 o'clock every single day, how many of you guys, if you knew you could make between $150,000 and $194,000, how many of you guys would be okay adding 10 hours a week to your schedule? Just say yes. Canada's fine. I got a lot of students in Canada. I love Canada. Okay. It's not a course. You're part of my inner circle. There's courses that you get access to courses, but it's not a course, guys. Don't even look at what I'm going over with you guys. This is not a course, guys. There's course content. We're going to inundate you with. It's a community. When you guys need people, you have a community. Okay. Now, when you guys add 10 hours a week to your schedule, what if it took you guys, you had to get up an hour earlier every day if you had to be at the office at 7 o'clock? What if you had to stop by your build at 6 a.m. every day? You could do it in 30 minutes. But let's say you had to drive 20 minutes out of your way and 20 minutes back, and you had 20 minutes to go in and take a look at your build. Most of your contractors are going to be there, are going to show up at 7 o'clock in the morning. If they're not there, you just take pictures of problems at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning before you go to school. If you're a teacher, if you're an attorney, if you're a doctor, doesn't matter what you do. If you're a plumber, you have workers coming in at 7 a.m., whatever you're doing, if you're a tradesman, whatever you're doing, you show up an hour early in the morning. And you really only have to do this about 3 days a week. But let's say you did it 5 days a week. And if you did this 5 days a week, that's an hour every morning. Then after you leave, what if you spent 1 hour throughout the day calling your subcontractors, scheduling people, ordering stuff, and then contacting them with problems, sending them emails and photos of stuff that needs to be fixed, little pictures you take. How many of you guys could afford between 1 hour and 2 hours, 3 to 5 days a week? Okay, because when you guys build this stuff, ladies and gentlemen, you don't sit in a lawn chair watching your concrete guys pour concrete. Now, some of you guys might. I don't have that type of time, and I know most of you guys don't either. When your framers are framing the house, you don't sit in your vehicle watching them through your front windshield with your air conditioner and a bucket of popcorn. You go in, you let them do their work. These are professionals. Where do you find these professionals? On job sites. I'll teach you guys how to do that. It's the same thing that goes through our process of 30 is the same way you hire your subcontractors, you hire your general contractors. It's called the process of 30. And I'll teach you guys the process of 30 and what that looks like. Okay. Now, the process of 30 will teach you guys exactly what type of contractor you need and how that contractor should execute. Don't overcomplicate it, guys. It's not that difficult. Okay. But the process of 30, I'll teach you guys how to go in and do this. Okay. Now, what was that, Stephen? Now, okay, I do. Now, look at this, guys. 10 hours a week, you guys commit to me. I promise you guys that one promise that I have is that if you follow my business model and you find land in the area that supports the business model that I'm talking about, it's available all across the United States. And if you execute the way I'm telling you guys, you have the ability to net between 150 and 194, provided that you guys pay attention and you guys execute. Now, do I promise that you'll succeed? Not unless you can promise me that you're going to execute to my business model. Okay? Most people complicate things and they don't pay attention. So I'm telling you guys, pay attention. For those lucky 5 people that get to come in and work with me today, you guys will have a community to support you. And part of that community is me. I'll come in once a week and I'll look at your progress. I will spend an hour and a half to 2 hours, you guys, one day a week, looking at your progress within our community. You'll have a community and access to over 1,000 people nationwide that'll support you. And you'll have access to all of our course material to be able to teach you guys how to do this. Okay? Now, for the rest of you guys that don't get started today, you guys have the opportunity to come and spend an entire day with me in Scottsdale here shortly. Now, let's take a look at what the next 13 months of your life is going to look like, part-time. Let's say it takes you 3 months, ladies and gentlemen, to find land. Okay? To find land. Now, 3 months to find land. And then let's say once you find land, it takes you 2 months to go through the process. This right here. 2 months. So that's months number, so 1, 2, 3, months number 3 and 4. So months number 3 and 4, you're going through the process. This will get you, 1, it'll get you lending. And 2, it'll get you permits. Okay, now, months number 4 and 5, well, let's call it number 5 and 6. Let's call number 5 and 6. You're getting permits. Okay, now most municipalities take 21 days to do plan review. There's some municipalities that take a lot longer, guys, and there's some municipalities that are a lot quicker. Some municipalities can get plan review done in 14 days, 2 weeks. And there's most municipalities are going to take you between 30 and 60 days to go through a set of plans that look like this. Okay. So for most of you guys, it'll take about 60 days to get a set of plans reviewed for permits that look like this. Okay. Now, when you do that, you're going to go in. I just went over that. So those of you guys that missed on where to find land, you guys can go back, rewatch the video. We'll email it to you tonight, and you guys will be able to have it by tomorrow morning. I'm not going to go over where to find land again because I already answered that question earlier in the video. And then you have my 5-day land challenge that you guys can take as well. For those of you guys that are part of our inner circle, our 5-day land challenge explains exactly how to find land in your area. Okay. Now, and then you guys will have access to that. For those of you guys that are part of our community, you get access to all that stuff. Okay. Now, with that said, permits months 5 through 6. Now, months number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, you're building. Okay. So months 6 through 11, that's a 6-month build, you're building. Okay. Now, when you're done building, you have to list the house. Most houses across the United States today are staying for sale for 60 days. So if you list your house month number 11 and 12 for 2 months, let's say that your house takes 60 days to sell. Months 11 through 12, it's for sale. Most houses sell within 24 days. Month number 13, it takes you 30 days to close. $194,000. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I told you guys I'd keep this within an hour. We're exactly an hour into the webinar right now because today I started 8 minutes late and I to let people come into the training. Now, understand this, ladies and gentlemen. There's a process to this. Some of you guys may take longer than 3 months to do this. Some of you guys will wait to go to Scottsdale, and that's on October 12th. Some of you guys are going to get started today. Now, I'm only going to take 5 people today, guys. 5 people. Now, to work with me, when I got started, ladies and gentlemen, I introduced a young lady. Her name was Tracy Fisher. Tracy's up in Canada. She was one of our first students that came in. Tracy has invested in multiple of our deals. She's invested in my Kirkland project, which is a $24 million project. She's also invested in my Youngtown Flats project, which is a $31 million project. Those people just got paid out on all of those investors. Now, she's one of our first students. When Tracy came in, she came in and invested in herself. At that same exact time, there was a gentleman, his name was Steven. Steven works with us, and he's 5% owner of my Rio Rancho project. He's actually a 2.5% owner of my equity owner of my Rio Rancho project. And so Steven came in, he's building houses. He comes in, he works with us full time. And Steven is not just working for us. He's not a salesperson. He's actually a student that came in and went to our first training in 2019 in Irvine, California. And now he's been working with us since then. And ladies and gentlemen, he's come in and owns 2.5% of a $50 million development. How many of you guys would like to own 2.5% of a $50 million development? Think about that, guys. He was a government paid employee. Okay. Now, all of these folks, when they came in, they invested in themselves. They didn't just become think about it, a $50 million project, $50 million times 0.025, 2.5%. He owns $1,250,000 of equity in that project. How many of you guys working with me would love to own $1,250,000 of a project in 5 years from now? Yes or no? How many of you guys would love to be building homes and making over $150,000 working with us? Okay. How many of you guys would like to be Tracy? And Tracy has equity in some of our deals and she's making between 15 and 20% on her money. Now, how many of you guys would love to be somebody like my buddy Eddie? Eddie came in. He was one of our first students as well. Started working with Eddie about 4 years ago. Eddie has 6 builds this year. 6 builds, guys. He was a firefighter. Eddie came in as a firefighter making $61,000 a year 4 years ago. $61,000 a year. On August 7th, it was Eddie's last day as a firefighter. He became a firefighter in 1999. I remember when he became a firefighter. 1999. He put in over 20 plus years in the service, guys, as a firefighter. He got started as a firefighter in 1999, making $9 an hour. He retired as a firefighter, making $65,000 a year. This year, he'll sell 6 homes. He just sold a home on July 11th. On July 11th, he got a check in the mail from the escrow for $290,000 net, one house. He's building 6 homes this year, guys. He's a firefighter. He just retired less than 2 weeks ago. How many of you guys would love to be an Eddie? Eddie has been at every single one of my trainings. He's been one of my platinum students. He goes to my big workshops, and Eddie goes to all my workshops, guys. He's invested in himself. He became part of our inner circle 4 years ago. He invested $8,000 in himself to become part of our inner circle back 4 years ago. He invested $3,000 to be a platinum student at over 4 of our workshops, guys. 3, 6, 9, 12. $12,000 plus $8,000. He's $20,000 plus he's been at other workshops. He's probably about $40,000 invested in himself working with us. But this year, he's going to make between $280,000, or let's call it $250 per house. Let's say that some of himself or less times 6. He's going to make $1.5 million this year. Net. Last year, he sold 3 homes last year. He made over $300,000 on 2 of them and $280 on another. 6, that's $700,000, $850,000 he netted last year. Was it worth the $40,000 or $50,000 investment that Eddie made in himself is the question. Was it? Yes or no? If you knew that over the course of the next 4 years, you had to invest $40,000 in yourself, but you can make $1.5 million in 1 year, and now you own the information the rest of your life, how many of you guys would invest in yourselves today to get started? Anybody? Okay, there's a commitment, guys, to do this. Stephen, you're on here. You can unmute yourself. Stephen, how many thousands of dollars have you invested in yourself to be a part of our trainings? Go to Mexico, be a part of our proximity, be at our trainings, be a part of everything we're doing. How many countless hours, Stephen, have you invested in yourself to do this?
Thousands of hours and at least $60,000 to $100,000 in investment.
And is it worth it?
100%.
Stephen Stephen comes in and he's working with our team, so he's making 5 figures a month working with us, and he also has his builds going, and he owns over $1.2 million of one of our projects. How many of you guys would love to be a Stephen, guys? Okay. How many of you guys, if you guys knew you were going to be a Stephen in 4 to 5 years, would come in and invest in yourselves? Okay. Because working with me is not free, guys. It's an investment. I won't invest in you. If you don't feel you're worth investing in, why should I invest my time in you is the question. Okay. I'll only invest in people that feel that they're worth investing in themselves. One thing that I know is only 5% of the population will invest in themselves. And so for the 5% of you guys that want to invest in yourselves, I'll invest my time in you. If you don't feel that you're worth investing, you go, well, Jerome, I don't have the money to invest. I didn't either when I got started. I found a way. And so it's $10,000 to be a part of our inner circle, and it's a one-time $10,000 investment. Okay? Now, we have thousands of people across the United States that have worked with us. I have a young lady, her name's Nicole. She was working a job making $70,000 a year. She got started in our Build Wealth Mastermind 2 years ago, second-year veteran. She invested $30,000 a year for 2 years. She's doing a $1.5 million build right now that's for sale and she's set to make over $420,000 on her very first build. It took her 2 years, guys, but she's going to make over $420,000. She was working, I think she was working for the city, and she as a city employee, so she was a state employee, and she was making $70,000 a year. 2 years into this, she's going to net over $400,000. She thinks she's going to make 500. I'm being conservative. I'm saying, what if she has to price her house low and she only makes 400? How many of you guys would like to be in Nicole? Nicole is about 35 years old. Okay, how many of you guys want to be in Nicole? 35 years old, never built before, no experience, and she's going to make over $400,000. Her house is done, guys. I just signed off for her to become a general contractor just about a month ago. She went and got her exam. She passed her exam, and now she's just trying to get her logistics and insurance to become a GC. She hired a GC on her first project, and now she's becoming a GC after her first build. How many of you guys would love to be in Nicole? Okay, now, if you guys want to be somebody like an Eddie, a Nicole, if you guys want to be like somebody like Josh, Miranda, if you guys want to be like any of these people that I'm talking about, the only difference between you and them is they've been working with me for a longer period of time. The question is, when do you want to get started? Do you want to wait another year to get started? Do you want to wait 2 months? Or do you guys want to get started today? That's the big question.